Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to the TV Terminal. My name is Adam Vale, Senior Editor over at thecoalition.com.
And I'm Josh Lamage, writer for the Coalition.
Yeah, people, and we are back. This has been an interesting story with this whole thing going on with the revival, because as I was promoting this over on the Coalition and through other social media platforms stuff, the main question I got is, what the hell is revival? What are you talking about? This doesn't make sense. Is this some kind of religious show? I was like, man, no, this is from the Image Comics. Don't you remember this? I guess it just slipped people's mind. And I know these are people that read comics, okay? And some people say, oh, yeah, I think I remember that. Oh, yeah. All right, well, what's that? It's
never heard of it.
See, there you go. You see, never heard of it. I was like, no, man, this was a good show, a good story. It was.
Then again, I feel like comics like this get kind of like lost somehow, unless you're like in the inn or you have someone that like puts you on. You know, I think of comics. I think of like Marvel and DC.
Yeah. There was Big Man Plan. There was a few different comics I was reading at the time. Of course, Invincible, another Image series, and Walking Dead. Good. There was a lot going on with Image at the time when this came out. But still, it's good. And here it is. We got this one now over on SYFY. And just so, again, another question I got a lot of people asking me. I'm like, oh, SYFY, what about? Well, first week, SYFY. Then the next week, that episode will appear on Peacock. So it's like I guess this upcoming week when episode 2 debuts on SYFY, it's going to be episode 1 on Peacock, and it's going to go in that order. So that's what's going on. But hey, thanks again, people, for the likes, the subscribes, the sharing, the commenting. Shout out to Matthew, right? I'm pretty sure that's his name. We got dude reached out, sent the message. He worked on the project over in Canada for this show, right? Gave me some insight. I don't want to spoil too much because it's not that he was really spoiling anything. It's just during the last episode I had mentioned, and even in the show notes, CM Punk is part of this, WWE CM Punk, but IMDb didn't have a description for his character. It just said CM Punk. All right, fine. And even now, I was going to bring up, because he did provide, if you want to find out, then go ahead and take a look in the comments of episode 1. He lists the character's name, what CM Punk is playing as, and his role. But I was going to bring it up in this one, but he doesn't pop up in this one. So I don't
spoiler free.
Yeah, spoiler free. Don't want to jump in, but we do get someone who does pop up. Right. And we'll bring him on. I'll bring us still on, and I'll mention him once he comes on. But we all know him as Trevor, over in Grand Theft Auto, and of course Simon in The Walking Dead. So there's that character that jumps in, and a few other ones that pop up. But quick housekeeping.
A lot of new characters.
Yeah, a lot of new characters, and it makes sense. We're only in episode 2, right? We got to start filling out the roster. Bring everybody into it. So shout out again to Matthew. He said they did a lot of great work. Keep tuning in. It's going to be one hell of a ride. And I have no doubt, especially with how this episode kicks off. It's serious. This is serious, and this is dark. Okay. Some people were saying, oh, well, it's probably comedy. And it's like, no. Yeah, we get it. Dana had her little quirky remarks in the first episode. But as you see here, this was pretty much all serious. This was definitely serious, definitely very dark. A lot going on in this one. So
there's some comedy, though. There's some comedy.
There's a little to try to lighten.
We'll get into that.
We'll get into that. But just want to, again, thanks again for the subs, the follows. If you haven't, go ahead, follow, sub. We are going to be covering this entire season for this one. And like we do for all the other shows, we currently have a Murderbot that's running. We have a few other ones planned going forward. We just finished Mobland, which was fantastic. And of course, we finished The Last of Us. Season 3 is going to be horrible. I'm not looking forward to that. Yeah, man. You heard?
I thought you were going to say season 3 is going to be.
No, I'm sorry. No. I'm not. No. I'm calling like it is. Calling like it is, people. And if you agree, then you know. But so that's it. thanks again for all that, and let's jump into it. We start off, and I have to just bring it up. Boom, Arlene. There we
Ouch.
go. Crazy granny over here pulling her teeth out. We just have to throw this image. This is a fantastic image. Right. If you're not seeing it on YouTube, you need to check this out because you see Arlene just looking off in the distance,
Just
just
ripping
like
out her teeth.
pulling her teeth out. This was
Why is she doing this again? Because she's used to having dentures.
She had dentures and she wants to put her dentures back in, but she can't because her teeth keep growing back.
I mean, I'd be hyped. My teeth growing back. But
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm sure plenty of people are like, excuse me, I want my old teeth. I miss my old teeth. Who knows how long ago they lost their teeth? I personally would prefer my own teeth and not dentures, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, I just wanted to throw this up because that was an amazing scene. All right, so there goes that. But
so
yeah.
So basically, the episode starts with M. I guess it's in the past, and she's waking up in a creek. Now we didn't see where she woke up before, how she came to be. We saw the scene in the previous episode where she wakes up in a bathtub. We're like, okay, did she overdose in the bathtub? Something in the bathtub. Turns out she wakes up in a creek on Revival Day. She spits out a ring.
Yeah.
So
I don't know why. Like the whole thing, I started putting images of The Ring, the old show. Remember the movie, the Ring with
the ring?
Yeah, ring. Yes.
Oh gosh.
Because it's like wet and all that stuff. Her hair was in her face. She's walking around. I was like, oh, look at this.
I watched that movie when I was like 6. No. Yeah, 6 or 7.
Shoot, I remember I went with Manny. Shout out to Manny, also a member of Throwdown Show. You can go find that on YouTube. And we were in theaters to see that. And there was that one scene where the door closes. It's only a jump scare of the dead girl behind the door. Remember when they opened up the door and she's dead? Nothing big. It's a PG-13. There's one kid screams in the front, right? So everybody starts laughing and we move on. But apparently he was with his mom and she's flipping out and she was upset at everyone. Why are you laughing? They said this movie's PG-13. It was like, yeah, but it was a jump scare. No one died. Let's just keep quiet, watch the movie. Someone's arguing with her. The kid is still freaking out, crying and stuff. And then she was like, we're leaving. We're filing a complaint against this theater. You should all be ashamed. She keeps yapping. We're trying to watch this movie.
Embarrassing. That's
oh,
so embarrassing.
Man. New York Story.
Core memory. If you're watching this and that was you, we're really sorry.
Right? Exactly. She's like, oh, they remember this.
But M, spits at the ring. Oh, yeah, and this is from the episode prior. So yeah, M is a reviver, and she heals.
Just to show that she is a reviver and a healer, because that's one of the things that we saw at the end of this episode. She gets up. Well, go ahead, just keep going with the prequel part though.
Yeah, so she gets up. She's confused. She doesn't have any shoes on, no jacket. She's just like doesn't know what's happening. She goes up to I guess the bridge that's like the overpass of where the creek is. And she finds her boots by the edge, and she finds her jacket, and we see police like storming, zooming past, and so it's Revival Day, so the police are busy. But yeah, so that's what we see. M comes home, her roommate is home, and she's like, where have you been? There's zombies.
It's people coming back. I'm leaving. I'm going to see with my folks. They're doing a lockdown. And she just doesn't care. She's having weird visions and just like freaking out. And goes into the bathroom and she starts taking her pills out and crushing them up and snorting them. At first I thought it was something else, but you're like, oh no, these are her prescription meds, right? Yeah,
it looks like that. It seems like we find out later exactly why she's kind of relapsing, I guess. But she snorts it and then nothing's happening. She's not getting the high that she's looking for, and so she
Here's something. The roommate made a joke about it's like it's all 28 days later. It's like, is that something you would bring up? I mean, that was a scary ass movie. I know that waking up in the hospital and coming out, if I saw what was going on where just the streets are deserted and when I do encounter people, they're just running at me like with rabies, I would be freaking out. So if I saw something like that and then this starts happening, Revival Day is a real thing and that happens, I don't think I'll be cracking jokes because I will hope that they're not running at me.
Knowing you, I feel like you would crack jokes.
Oh no! Well, maybe
you would have to, honestly.
Maybe a little bit, but I'd probably go the Negan route from Walking Dead. I'd grab a baseball bat. I'd try to get some barbed wire or just shards of glass and
I'm
stick
gonna
it in.
need a bat. I'm
You
gonna
got
need
to make
barbed
a
wire.
weapon. You got to get prepared. That's it. Because all hell's gonna break loose at this point. Not just with the walkers or whatever you want to call them. In this story, the revivers. But then what about just people going crazy in general, trying to collect resources when things get really bad? Now it's not a
Stock up your
complete
toilet
situation.
paper. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh, it's not gonna be toilet paper. You know what? You got your hand, people. You got your hand. Be a man. That's it. Take a old shirt. I mean, people have been wiping their bums before TP for a long time. I was Boy Scout, so we
Anyways.
learned the hard way. We learned the hard way. I'm just saying. All right. So anyway, yeah, keep going.
So Em punches the mirror out of frustration because she's not getting the high that she wants, and then she looks at her hand when she comes out to talk to her roommate, and her hand's healed. So then she's like, "Okay, what's going on?" So she grabs a Swiss Army knife and slices her hand open now, and the hand heals. So.
Yeah, we got the Crow situation going on here.
Yeah.
Now shout out to Brandon Lee,
Yeah, shout out to Brandon Lee.
Like she's just coming back. I was just waiting to hear the Cure start playing. It's like this is a dan. But man, I love that movie. All right, keep going.
So we cut back to the M in the barn. So yeah, this, and she's like, "Please don't tell Dad," which was the title from the last episode. And Dana's like, "Okay, like cover her up, put a jacket on. The police are coming. I gotta hide you with this. We're just gonna say that she attacked us and we took her out. I took her out. Like, I don't want you really involved in this right now."
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and as you're looking at this image here, and we saw this scene, see the blood going. Now it doesn't close up the wound of the shirt, right? It's just the internal. That still stays
she has to wear
there.
the jacket.
Yeah, she has to wear the jacket. So that's something cool to just point out.
My thing is though, a lot of people like in the town, they know who's been revived and there's a list and stuff. Why do you think they're so guarded about M? Just like from her father finding out, the bad look of the press and stuff, or is it like, what do you think?
Why Dana doesn't want anybody to
know?
Like,
why no? But like, why know it? Like, yeah,
because it just brings more attention, and then Dana's connected because she is law enforcement.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be handling this case. Clearly, there is an issue with one of the revivers, as with Arlene, Grandma Arlene, who just plucking her teeth and getting all wacky. So the last thing you need to point out is like, oh yeah, by the way, my sister's also a reviver. So it just makes things very complicated for Dana, and then of course for the sheriff, the dad, the Wayne, and all that stuff. It's just too much going on right now. They just want to get to the matter at hand, and right now the matter is Arlene, because we're linking Arlene with the horse from episode 1, right?
Yeah.
That it's all connected. It was in the barn.
She was like eating the horse.
She was eating the horse. Her daughter and daughter's husband put the horse in a truck, drove it off, dumped it. That's when we find it, and then that's what story, and that's how it leads to the farmhouse here because of finding the red truck. So
it's a lot of questions. Like why she's the one that's being whacked out right now. But
yeah.
Then we go to Cooper. Cooper in the last episode like ran away from his grandfather, and so we find him just
ran out of the car. Remember, he ran out of the car, and that was a dumb move. That was one of the things that we talked about. I was like, why would you run out of the car? That made no sense. But we find out it's because he heard something in the woods, and while he's going something around, he drops his glasses, and that's when I pop up. Boom, Blaine, our boy Trevor. Oh man, what's his name? Steve Ogg. I think that's what it is. I wrote it down somewhere else, but it's definitely Mr. Ogg here. Oh man, he's always been a great bad guy. He plays an awesome villain. I'm not saying that he's a bad guy here because we don't know, but he's definitely a creeper.
He's mysterious. That's for sure.
He is mysterious. The dude's wandering around in the woods. Hey, it's daylight. He could be hiking. Shout out to Mr. Shojano. We know him. There's people that like to hike in the woods, and it's during the day. Nothing wrong with that, right? But he even says it. He's like, you shouldn't be out here in the woods. He's like, I got lost, this and that. Well, why don't you go in that direction and be found? That's kind of creepy to say.
I guess like a chill thing to say then, because if he seems like someone that knows something.
He definitely knows.
He's going to play a bigger part.
He definitely knows.
Look at the symbols on his hands and stuff.
Yeah. So, I'm guessing he's maybe into religion. Maybe
he's like
I'm
spiritual.
not definitely not a preacher or anything like that, but maybe into the whole conspiracies of what's happening. And we sort of find this out a little later. He throws a little mention, and I'll bring that up later. But yeah, I think it's one of those where he sees things coming, sort of like people that are like preparing for the apocalypse. You know, those doomsday preppers. There's some people that go further on that level,
With the
but I think
sign, the end is near.
yeah, stuff like that. I don't want to say he's a cult leader. I don't want to put him in that category because I don't think he is. But
He's
it seems,
spiritually aware, I would
yeah,
say.
there you go.
He knows something.
Spiritually aware. There we go. But
So
yeah.
So then we cut to Candy and Ibrahim back at the
No, wait, because remember we get Cooper, the Wayne, we start hearing off in the distance screaming for him.
Oh yeah.
Remember? And he was like, "Why'd you get out the car? Why'd you leave?" And it's great questions. Why did you leave? And it turns out, like we just mentioned, he heard something in the woods. Doesn't matter. There could be the people hiking. There could be animals. You're gonna hear things in the woods. Don't go investigating, especially a little boy by yourself. The only upside I can see to this, to his defense, well, it's daytime. You know, it's daytime, so maybe everything is fine. But remember why? Yeah, but remember why they're there, right? There was a disturbance, a domestic violence. Not domestic violence. It was just a disturbance over at the old lady's house. Somebody complained of noises, right? It was loud noises. So what if there was a fight? What was something going on? What if she was being attacked or something like that? And the guy knew the police were coming and ran out into the woods.
Yeah, no, he's lucky he's lucky.
He's lucky. Well, right? Is he lucky that he came across Blaine? You know, I don't know. We don't know yet. But hey, Blaine at least points him out. He didn't keep him. He didn't say,
he seems
"Hold
to have
on
an
to my
affinity
hand."
towards children, I guess. He seemed nice.
Yeah, I mean, the kid said, "Hey, I'm not supposed to talk to strangers," but he keeps talking. You know, he keeps talking. So it's like, what good did that do? But yeah, he finds him, says you shouldn't have run off, gives him the lecture. They get in the car, take off.
So now we go to Candy and Ibrahim.
Yeah. Now we go to Candy.
And they're overlooking Arlene's body.
Mm-hmm.
They unzip the body bag, and the top of her scalp flies off the table. So,
nice.
And they're wondering, they're like, okay, like most of them regenerate, heal, or whatever. Like this is the first time we've kind of just seen kind of dead again, apparently.
Yeah, but Ibram makes a great comment here. He's like, "What makes you so special?" And I was waiting to see Arlene's head turn like Evil Dead and answer, "I am special because I never die." You know, something like a big tongue comes out and then jumps into Ibram's mouth like,
"Hey, yo!"
And they start tonguing and then Candy freaks out and she grabs a scalpel and she cuts the tongue.
This sounds like something that would be on a different site.
And then the tongue falls on the floor and then just like comes alive and jumps back in Arlene's mouth and like reattaches. I don't know.
Gosh, you should be a writer on this show.
I'm gonna rewrite season 2. That's what I'll jump in on that.
If you're looking for a new writer for an absolutely bonkers show, he's
exactly. I'll do the uncut edition. There we go. It'll get a little wild, but yeah, he's trying to figure this out. What makes her special? Now, from what we know, this is the first reviver to come back. Well, come back in this situation. Like all the other revivers went back to their families and are just sort of living their lives. But this is the first one that had to get killed. Yeah, had to get killed because of some craziness. And so is that what he's referring to? Like what makes you so special? Like what's different?
Yeah,
why did you snap? Right? Why did you snap?
Yeah, because he knows about the teeth thing. He knows that she was eating the horse, poor horse.
Yeah. And the teeth and all that stuff. She was really upset about this teeth thing. That's always going to bother me because, I mean, go ahead in the comments. Don't you want your own teeth? Wouldn't you like to have your own teeth? Unless your teeth are really jacked up. That you're like, oh man, I need dentures because my mouth is a train wreck.
I love my teeth, bro. I want my teeth
but whatever, you know.
So they leave the room. They leave Arlene on the gurney, and then we close in on her scalp and we see stuff regenerating.
Man, that's so crazy.
Yep.
She's coming back.
So then now we cut to M in the hospital. She started having a panic attack. or what seems to be a panic attack. So they bring her into the hospital. She's having like visions or flashbacks of something. She's seeing a light. She's seeing something that happened. So I think it's probably obviously, what took her out.
Yeah, there's definitely something's going on. But this whole thing is still throwing me off with this, is that she didn't tell anybody. And then Dana's there. And I'm sure the doctors or a nurse or anyone's going to see all that blood that's on the shirt, even though the jacket's covering. Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? You would see that and say,
maybe
hey,
she's saying like, oh, well, but then she lifts up her shirt and shows that she's not cut, so she could say that it's Arlene's blood.
I guess.
But because she's not wounded, she's not dying or anything. Obviously, she's not going to tell them that she's a reviver. But then, so Dana shows up at the hospital along with her, with Wayne.
Wayne shows up and Cooper.
And they're like, what happened? And Wayne's like, why would you bring your sister along with you? This is ridiculous. Like all these.
Well, that's a valid question right there. But there's a lot to it because he doesn't know that Dana picked up M on the side of the road.
Yeah,
it's very random. It's not like, hey, called her up. What are you doing? You want to come along for the ride?
In the same fashion, he took Cooper with him on the ride. So it's like,
oh yeah. Well, then that's the kicker here, right? Because M knows this. It's like, well, you lost. She said you lost Cooper. How did she know that?
I'm wondering, and this is just a theory here, if there's like a hive mind situation going on between everybody that was revived.
Okay.
As if they share information somehow or they know stuff. I don't know.
But then where's the connection that was around Wayne and Cooper then? Maybe to feed that hive, someone like if it's bored.
Something to do with Blaine.
Blaine. Yeah. Oh, well, maybe. You see, there you go. There's a theory right there. Did Blaine do all this? Is he connected somewhere? Yeah, because that scene right there. Yeah, he's a conduit. Because that just didn't make any sense. While Wayne is going off on Dana, you shouldn't have done this, done that whole thing. And then M, what are you doing here? And then M just brings up, hey, you lost Cooper. Stop throwing shade. You did something yourself. And then the Dana's freaking out. What do you mean you lost Cooper? How did she find out? Maybe it was a loophole. Maybe something happened, but maybe there's more to it. Like you said, there is a connection. We're gonna find.
I don't think it's a continuity issue within the episode. Like it's not like they called her and told her anything because they kind of surprised her at the hospital. So
yeah. But then M takes off. She's heading out wherever she's gonna go, and then that's where we get the scene with Cooper and Dana.
And she's like, she sees a reporter walk in, and she's like, okay, like go get a snack or go. She tells someone else to go take him. And then,
was that the same reporter from episode 1 from the first scenes? No, right?
I don't remember exactly.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. In the comments, if you remember, we just watched it together and we were spewing this like two people that just left the theater at the pizza spot, talking about it. So, but if you remember, if that was the same one, please let us know.
Drop a comment.
Yep.
But as Dana's talking to the reporter, Ibrahim walks back into, and we could go to the next picture. Ibrahim walks back into the room to take a look at Arlene, and she is gone. Just an empty body bag. And he's like, where's the guard? And he turns over and he looks at the wall, and we see there's a dent in the wall, blood sliding down the wall, and we see the guard on the floor. So that's like her MO. She likes throwing people at walls.
She's got power. She's got power. She's not just coming back and getting some teeth that goes in. She's growing some muscle back. Because remember, they
ripping out the teeth and throwing.
Yeah, because they point out she's in her 80s, right? She was like 81, 82-year-old. So this is So for someone to be revived, it's one thing if you're a younger person, you revived, and from what they thought at the time, you're just waking up and you're still your normal self. Just you just gave in that extra quarter for a second life. Ta-da.
Maybe
that's not the case,
maybe it's a matter of time because we see M wake up and it's daylight and she wakes up, but then we saw the situation at hand when the revival first started. It was nighttime. So I don't know if there's a basis on levels of who was revived at what point, and maybe
at what time.
It's a turn, they change after a while. That could be cool.
Maybe. Yeah, because when Dana encountered the escaped criminal, remember when she got the information of about the horse and all that stuff, and he was caught in the trap. he didn't have super strength. He could have fought her off. He could have
That's
did all
true.
kinds of stuff. He didn't have that strength. So
I don't know.
definitely different. All right.
But yeah, so they sound that alarm. They're looking, they don't know where she is. They run down a hallway. Everyone's running down the
Yeah,
hallway.
sheriff, Wayne,
You look
tension,
at
music, the lighting.
Yeah.
Very cool scene here.
They walk down the hall and they see Arlene holding up a nurse against the wall, suffocating her. There's people all over the floor. Dana's like, all right, turn around.
I love that. I love that scene because I'm like, oh, she's gonna pull out her gun and start bucking shots. No, she is not.
She knows better.
She she turns around and this, I'm telling you, this is a big deal, people. Big deal, because in so many shows that focus on zombies and these type of situations where they're fighting the undead, the first thing is to attack, right? You see them attack, hit it, do something, but you have to really think about this. She is thinking about, like, let me see, we took her down once, right? She's back now, obviously, and she's holding this nurse up by her neck against the wall. Clearly she has some strength. Let's replan this. Let's re-strategize, because she turns around. She says, everybody, we got to go. Let's just get out of here. Get everything. She's super strong. She's strong. This is not going to work. Your bullets, all this is not going to work. She knows instantly, we have to get out of here. Let's avoid Arlene.
Yeah. So she pushes back. She tells the reporter, like, hey, you gotta get out of here. Like, this is bad. Wayne comes in with a bunch of people. He runs in. The guns are blazing. They see people on the floor, passed out, or either dead or unalive. I don't know. But they keep walking, and they're in the maternity ward. And they're like, where did she go? And they find Arlene holding a baby.
So crazy. There's one baby crying, and she's holding the baby. Now, is she gonna eat the baby? Was that the plan, to eat the baby? Like, why have the baby? No, unless she's thinking about her daughter, the fact that she saw her daughter die.
Well, she was cradling the baby and acting nurturing with it. And so, they walk into the room and they're like pointing guns at her and just like, confused at what's happening. They bang something, they knock something over, and Arlene is triggered and she runs out with the baby. So now it's a foot chase. And they're running through the the stairwell. They're trying to find her. We only hear the baby crying, and then next we're in a parking garage of the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Still just hearing the baby crying. They don't know where Arlene is. And who shows up?
It's Blaine. There we go.
He pulled a David Blaine and showed up.
There you go. Pull the David Blaine, just popped up out of nowhere there.
Holding the baby. Timing.
Holding the baby.
Bro's mysterious.
And what was it that he said about hell freezing over or something that?
He goes, I've given you permission to tread on the serpents and scorpions. The gates of hell are open.
You see, there you go. That's the type of stuff somebody a little loose up there would say. A regular person wouldn't say that. You'd be like, oh, I found a baby. Crazy thing happened is I saw Arlene snarling and growling, and she just dropped the baby and took off. Hey, ta-da! Here you go, officer. No, he says what you just said right there, and it's a little wacky.
But my thing is, did he introduce himself last time to Wayne? Did he say his name was Blaine?
They know him.
Oh, they know him. Okay,
they know him.
Okay, they know him.
They said his name Blaine. They know him. He's part of the town. Man, it's a small town.
No,
Wisconsin.
True.
He's from there, so definitely knows him. But what he doesn't know, what Wayne doesn't know, is that Blaine is the strange man that Cooper met in the woods. That he doesn't know, because he didn't see him.
Oh,
no, because Cooper didn't know. He didn't know who he was. So we find out now.
So Ibrahim, the mayor, and the chief, they're all in the office, Wayne's office, like talking about the situation. He's freaking out. He's like, we have a super strong reviver stealing babies and throwing nurses against walls. Like, until we know what we're dealing with, we need to take every action possible.
Yeah, they're confused with all this. And again, people think, how would you address the situation? You just recently lifted the lockdown, right? So now people are roaming around doing whatever. You got a bunch of revivers that of the ones that have died that day. It could have been others. People could have been at home in other spots. Look, they didn't know about him, and then we're going to find out with another character soon that they didn't know had died and came back. So It's crazy because on one hand they're like, all right, let's just grab the ball and bring them back. You can't really do that. And on the other, it's like, well, we have this super one. Do we tell everybody if you do that, it's going to be mass hysteria, right? People are going to go nuts. And remember, they're still under quarantine. The lockdown is lifted, but the town is still under quarantine.
Yeah.
We haven't seen too much of, or even at all, of what it looks like. I'm sure there's probably like barriers and police,
Guards and stuff.
no,
Yeah.
military, I should say, not even good. Yeah, the military surrounding the town. Who knows? Maybe they'll put a fence like the movie Quarantine. Remember the movie Quarantine?
I'm surprised that they don't talk more about like the social media aspect of everything that's going on.
Yeah, they really don't. I mean, we get a little bit of the news report, right?
Yeah.
And some of that through the local news when they show scenes and it's on TV, but we don't really hear too much what's going on in the outside world. Yeah, like what's happening when people jumping on like Threads or Instagram, like, yo, look at this. Yeah, maybe they didn't want to bring that up. I don't know the time period. They clearly have cell phones, so it's not that far back. But yeah, good point.
So Dana comes over to M's house or her dorm or apartment complex, and she knocks on the door and to her room, and she's not answering. So she breaks the door. Well, doesn't break the door, but she like opens the door, and you see all these drawings on the wall. It kind of looked like pentagrams or some kind of symbol. Not exactly a perfect pentagram, but it looked like something like that.
She was drawing weird symbols.
Yeah. So then Dana finds a bag of drugs, like these blue drugs, circle looking kind of thing.
In a baggie, not in your typical RX vials and stuff like that. So it's just like all mixed in a baggie. So
yeah. So then M comes in. I guess she was doing laundry, and she's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And Dana comes out, and she's like, "What is this? Like, what? Like, you're using again?" And she's like, "I relapsed after the accident, but I'm trying to take something to help me right now, and nothing seems to be working since I've been revived."
Yeah, she's having a hard time with all of this, and she was having a hard time. But they go into a back and forth about all this happening, and then the key moment and the key part of this whole scene is that the roommate overheard all of it. She knows now that.
Well, that too, but she dives into more. She dives into. She asks, "Did you overdose? No. Did you unalive yourself? No. Where were you? Why did you wake up in a creek over the bridge where it so happens to be, I guess, the area where or the same day that the mother passed away." So
she said she went there just to sit back and reflect, because like you said, it was the day that the same day 3 years later from when the mom had passed. But then it brings up questions of what we saw at the beginning, it's with the shoes and everything on the side.
Yeah, and she's asking her, "Well, what do you remember? Like, what do you remember at all?" She goes, "Well, it was 9:30. I remember seeing headlights. What kind of car? I don't remember what kind of car."
Yeah. It shows a creepy scene that brought up a memory from 6 Feet Under, for those who remember that show on HBO. And there was this one scene, a character disappeared. She was she had a baby, and she was like the love interest of one of the brothers from the show. But it was a really creepy scene where they show that she was missing for a while, and we see a scene where it's from the backseat of a car, and it's facing toward the ocean, and we can see the character sitting on the beach, just like sitting on the sand, just overlooking. And then we see a car pull up on the side, because you see from the rear side mirrors, and then you can see a guy walking up behind her, and there's nothing you can do about it because we're watching it. And then that's it. We are just use your imagination what took place, but they never found her. And that's what this sort of brought up, this whole thing, because they show this scene where when she's trying to remember, and it's night, and she sees a car off in the distance, but she's not really paying attention, and you see the lights of the car, and it's like, oh,
somebody found her in a vulnerable moment.
Yeah. Wow.
So so after they have this whole conversation, Dana's like, "All right, let's go to the bridge, or let's see if we can gather some kind of evidence together." And as they leave, we see her roommate, M's roommate, kind of creeping out from the darkness of her own room, having listened to the whole thing. So now we're thinking, okay, now she knows that she's revived. Now she knows all these things now. So, her roommate knows a little more now, or so we think.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Dana brings M to the office, to the police station, and she tells her like, "Hey, go get some money to go to the snack machine. Like, keep yourself occupied. I have to figure out some information first." So she walks over to, I guess, some guy named McCrae or McCraig. I think it's McCrae.
McCraig. Yeah, McCraig.
McCraig.
Wait, you said he was playing a game. I don't know why I thought he was just watching some, but
No, he was playing. He was playing like a turn-based game or something on his computer. I
Mm,
guess that's what he does at work. Small
nice,
town. I guess
nice.
he has nothing else to do.
I guess, but don't you hear all the craziness happening? I'm sure they all heard about what happened with
He
Arlene.
seems really unaffected, and it's funny. It's like he had this rat tail going on.
Oh
Like
yeah, bringing it back, the rat tail.
the Anakin.
Oh boy, the Anakin. Well, also Roberto Baggio. Shout out to him. He had a famous
Oh
rat tail, the
yeah,
soccer player. He
yeah,
went
he
to his
did.
talent national team.
I think
But
I think it's back in some way. I've seen like a lot of like it's like
hey,
singers.
anything's possible. I see people with mullets. Hell, the fact that I even have all this long hair, some people like, what the hell? So
I kind of
anything's
have like a
possible.
mohawk thing going on.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
Styling and
yeah,
profiling.
yeah. Next time I'll show you.
There we go. All
But
right. So, but yeah. So, see, there we go. But it's all
what?
relevant. It all makes sense. It all relates here. So, she's basically wants to know info on drugs. What's going on? She says, "Hey, look, I got these drugs. What pain clinic can dish these out?" And he's like, "That there are no clinics that give them in that way." So it's clearly someone else. He was like, "All right, I
She's
need
like,
a
do you
list."
know?
Yeah, he's like, I need a list. I need a list or something. He's like, yeah, it's right. He just so happens to have it. I was like,
He printed
here's
out.
a list of
He
exactly.
knew.
I was waiting for him to like click a different window on his screen and say, all right, I sent the printout. Go to the fax machine.
Click on
You
the.
know, get to stepping. Leave me alone. I'm over here playing something. But no,
He said something
he
cool though. He goes, don't shake up the can if you're not prepared for the fizz, which is
yeah.
was cool.
It's like, all right, I got to remember that. I don't know when I'll use that. I put that in the category of a good day. It's like, what do you mean good day? It's like, I said good day. I want to say that to somebody so bad.
Oh, from the '70s show.
Yeah, well, it was from Willy Wonka.
That one
When Charlie
too.
comes in and then he's like, "Where's my chocolate?" And he's like, "You don't get anything. You touched the ceiling. You did it. You stole." It's like you get nothing, and it's like that's it. And so they go to leave. It's like, "Good day," and then they leave.
I've been
And
wanting
so,
to do the, when he comes
right.
out like limping and then he does the roll.
Oh, the tumble
I want to
roll.
do
Yeah,
that for my students.
that
and
was
just
all
look-
improv. They didn't know he was going to do that.
Yeah.
He just did it. But then they were like, "But you're me." I said, "Good day." I'll back up. I'm one day I will say
You will
it
use
and
that.
it will
I
make
hope I'm there
sense.
for
I
that.
can't wait. I can't wait. All right. But
So
anyway, yeah, she takes the list and then she heads out.
so she goes out to see her car. Her car's gone. M took it. So now she's
Mhm.
like, well, I don't have a car. So she goes back to like I guess the lady at the desk.
Yeah, front desk lady. I don't remember her name, but yeah, the front desk lady.
And she's like, hey, are there any other cars? And she's like, no cars. All the cars are out because, with all the craziness that's happening.
But
And she's
she
like,
has they throw a little side story for her too. Because she's like, well, can I use your car? It's like, no, gave it to her boyfriend, whoever. And then Dana throws some shades and, he's not a good guy. He takes everything from you, that type of thing. It's like, well, he offers other services that you don't see,
she's like,
that
all
type
right,
of
that's enough.
I was like,
And then she
exactly.
walks up.
Because she was saying,
So,
like, why don't you ask Wayne or somebody and, your dad, or then it goes up to Ibra.
yeah. So then we cut to someone we haven't seen before. We see a woman putting on her makeup in a mirror, and I don't want to speculate too much, but it looks like she is probably unwell or maybe going through chemo or something, and she's putting on her makeup, and her husband comes from behind, standing behind her, and he's like, are you sure you want to do this? We don't have to go anywhere. And she's like, no, I want to keep going. I want to make appearances.
Yeah,
And we recognize him.
That's it. That's from the title. Yeah.
We recognize him as the professor.
Yeah. Professor Miss Fiddle over here, Miss Sticky Fingers. That's what I'm calling him. Playing around
Something
with M
going
on
with
side.
him and M. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We know.
So they go to a bar called Nella's, which is, I guess, or Nell's, which is like the main spot for the town.
The main spot in the town. That's where Dana met up with Ibra. That's where she picked him up. Same spot. There you go. No secrets.
M is in the squad car. She pulls up. The radio is talking about Arlene running, amok. They can't find her. And then Ibrahim picks up Dana, and so they they're trying to find her and they're talking about her, and we find out a lot more information about her here. Yeah. So some cool stuff unfolds. So basically the scene now, which is really cool with the show, it cuts between two different situations or more at a time.
Just like the first episode.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the first episode, where we were seeing Wayne approaching the old lady's house for the disturbance, and then seeing Dana approach the barn. Right. So I really wish, I'm telling you, if anyone else from the show on the creative side is listening, this would be fantastic if they just did like a picture in picture side by side, just or just like a quick cut, or just have one zoom in, and then the other one zoom in at the bottom. So it's like
a
you
camera,
can pan through.
like a comic panel.
Yeah, like a comic panel, and then like flip them around. I don't think it'd be too jarring. I know some people, there's a concern also with flash cuts and fast cuts.
What I like about the scenes when they do this is like how oddly similar it is in a way to the topics or subjects. Like we have M obviously going through something and gonna confront, and then we have Dana talking about M and bringing up the aspects of her life that we don't know about, which could lead into why she's asking all these questions and why she's going through what she's going through. So both things are answering themselves in a weird way. But yeah, so M is at the bar. She's she looks over, she sees the professor with his wife. And the professor's like, excuse me, I'm gonna go use the restroom. So he gets up to go walk to his restroom. M follows him and she's like, hey, like, where were you? I need to talk to you. And he's like, what are you doing? My wife is right there. And she's like, I need to know what happened to me that night at the creek. And he's like, what are you talking about? She's like, I woke up, with your wedding ring, in my mouth. Like, what's happening? Like, and he's like, first of all, that's not my ring. And second of all, like, what do you mean you woke up? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. He doesn't know. And you know what? You questioned, you're like, oh, I think he's BSing. No, he seemed very genuine with all this. And he wasn't concerned at all. At first, when we saw him in the first episode, and when he was like, oh, looked a little shocked to see her. We'll meet up at night and talk about this. And maybe we thought he had something to do with her death. But it doesn't look like that here. It looks more like...
Could it be the wife? Could it be the wife that did it?
It could be. Because he says, well, for one, it's not his ring. But he doesn't produce another ring. At least I didn't see that.
But I'm saying, like, if the wife found out about their affair.
Oh yeah, no. If she found out, maybe that's a possibility. But I mean, this goes on for a little bit. But the long short is that he just says, "Hey, listen, you were pretty much stalking me. I had to block you. I had to block your email. I had to block
messages
your calls.
from you,
were
December
calling me, this whole
15th.
thing. Yeah, and all the way to that last day, and she was like, well, she basically says that she's a reviver. And he couldn't believe it. And he's like, oh, man, I didn't know you took the breakup that hard. And he's like, what? No, I don't think I hurt mine. I said, no, I didn't do that. He says, well, what else could it be? You're here now and you're saying all this stuff. And it's like...
I was wondering if she was, like, low-key accusing him of killing her.
Well, she was sort of, because she was wanting to know.
Which I perceived as well. But then he perceived it as maybe she unalived herself.
Yeah, maybe. But while that's happening, again, it would have been great. We would have had a little camera just boop on another window, just seeing the Dana and Ibra in the car, and she's bringing up their backstory with everything, that the mom had passed away 3 years ago. It was a car accident. M was driving. She had some complications because she already has a bone condition, right? Type 1 bone condition. It brought back the M. Night Shyamalan movie with the dude that his bones were very frail.
Osteogenesis imperfecta.
That's it. Yeah, that's what he said. But there was a movie that brought that up. Oh man, with someone, and if you know this in the comments, go ahead. I know somebody else knows this. But the dude from Pulp Fiction, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. We know him
which one?
Capital One. He was in Capital One commercials. He's Nick Fury. Come on now.
Samuel Jackson.
Samuel Jackson. Yeah, he was the character. And then he was like super smart, but he had that condition. He would fall down the stairs, something, and break all the bones in his body and stuff like that.
What movie was it?
But I'm blanking on it. Was a whole bunch of them, but it was part of the whole superhero thing that M. Night was trying to do, because then he did that one with Bruce Willis. Remember that he could lift all these it was
like that movie Split was connected to it.
Yeah, Split was all connected. Yeah, it was like he was building his own universe.
Like a universe.
Yeah, and it just never materialized into like some big thing. But anyway, it seemed like that. So she had this condition, but while that's happening, we see that after having that interaction with the professor, is all upset. She walks further into a bar. There's some lady watching on the news. They're talking about revivers, and this lady just says something to the effect of like they should all be put back in the ground. And
she says God chose them to die.
Yeah, God chose them to die. M just flips out, punches her in the face.
She headbutts her. It was crazy.
Oh yeah, there you go. She headbutts her. Right, it was just so fast with all the hair.
Punching her would probably break her hand.
Break her hand
happens
too.
anyways.
Yeah, it happens anyway. But the
lady gets up. She's way taller than him. Outside her, and she calls her the B word and pushes her. and breaks her hand on a chair. The lady tosses her down. We could skip to that picture because we see her on the ground.
That was brutal. Oh, why it's not coming up?
Anyway, yeah. So basically, what the image would be is M is on the floor, just getting punched, her teeth, blood, everything. Like, yeah.
Oh man, she was a mess. This was a brutal scene, and it just keeps getting worse because then the first go around, she gets knocked down. It's like, okay, she sees that she's healing up, so then she's like, okay, and then she's like, all right, let's see what else she got. But she's not really fighting back. She's just letting this lady unleash.
She wants to feel something. I don't know.
Yeah, probably she's upset. She just wants it to end. I think that's what it was really about. It's like she's just tired of all this. It's way too much info to deal with of what's happening to her and what happened and what the professor and all that stuff. Marianne, a 3-hour tour, Gilligan's Island, the whole thing, right? So you would think there's somebody in this bar would have jumped in. Yeah, I would think, right? Somebody jump in. It's like, yo, you see this lady just wailing on her, this young girl. She's not defending herself, and she's just taking punch after punch. Blood's everywhere. It's messy.
Well, then we get this young guy that helps her up, and as he helps her up, and they exit because they want to get out of there. We hear the lady that she headbutted. She was like, "Oh, I think she broke my nose." And we go outside. We meet this character, Rhodey.
Yep.
His name is Rhodey, and basically, like a alternative rock looking band dude. Brings her outside. She's all covered in blood, and he's like, "So, what does he say there?"
He said, "So, you're a living dead girl." Yeah. What's your story, living dead girl? Yeah. And that's it. Just cue White Zombie right there.
And she's like, "Oh, what?" Like, he's like, "Well, I saw you heal."
He saw it. Don't worry, nobody else saw. I saw that, but nobody else. And also, no one cares because they were ready to let you die at the hands of this lady. Because again, she's just wailing on her, and nobody, a bartender, any respectable bar, a bartender would have taken out a bat and just banged it down or did something. I guess because
she started it.
It doesn't matter. At that point, she's defenseless. She's just getting wailed on. It's one thing if there's a fight. It's like, okay, wait, let's try to split this up. No. She was on her and just wailing. So whatever. But yeah, we got a new character. We got Rhodey over here. And go ahead.
No, yeah, he seems pretty chill. He's like, yeah. No, I know you're unalive. Like, I saw you healing. And he's like, my band has a gig in a shed if you want to come check it out. And he shows her the flyer, and she's like, you're revived too. And he's like, yeah, but
yeah, exactly. It is what it is. I'm sure he has
Tuesday, it's fine.
But as we all know, it all happened on one day. So we'll have to find out what happened to him that day.
And she's like, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, so it'll be interesting to see if they connect in some way besides the fact that they're both but already they're connecting because she was like, well, he understands what I'm going through, and he has a band, and he's got a show. He's moving on with his life, and that's what she needs. She needs to move on with her
perfect
life.
Yeah, a friend that knows what she's going through. I think that's the best thing for her to experience right now. And she's like, okay, like, can we get out of here? Like, the police are coming after me, and I've done some stuff. I need to get out of here. And he's like, all right, yeah, like, we could go to my van. So she goes in the van, she finds his merch, and she puts it on. And then
it's funny. And then she takes off, but before she leaves a note in the squad car.
So Dana pulls up with Ibrahim, and she's like, this was a really good conversation, like maybe we could do this again sometime. And he's like, do what again? Drop you off?
I hate that, Come on. I mean, the writing, everything was solid until this point.
Ibrahim,
Like,
bro. Are you
don't
fumbling this bag?
don't put this on him. Don't do that. The guy's super smart at what he does, right? But I'm sure he would understand if she said, "Hey, we should do this again, like this, like, get together, like this." She said like 2 or 3 times, and it's like, "What?
Like,
What? Don't
like,
no,
what?
no. Don't tell me he's that clueless. Don't tell me that. Sorry, he's not.
He's just shy. He's just a shy guy, Adam.
No, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it." But yeah, she gets out. She sees that. She's upset. All right, so there goes that.
Yeah, the note in the car was like, needed some space. Don't look for me. I'll find you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
So,
then there, but then this is the part where she goes back to the when she's looking.
She's sitting in the car.
Mm-hmm.
She's sitting in the car and she looks at the list of drug offenders and people that got arrested for stuff, because she's trying to figure out how her sister got these drugs. And who does she see on this paper?
The roommate, the shady McGuffin. I don't know, but she finds her and she's like, "That's it." She goes over, and sure enough, roommate's in the living room taking a hit from the bong. Shout out to Cypress Hill.
Sparking up.
Yep, she's doing her thing. She opens up, she goes in.
She's like, "You don't have reasonable cause." She's like, the door was open, which it wasn't.
It wasn't. Well, maybe it wasn't.
Or
locked.
Maybe it was ajar.
Yeah, maybe ajar, right? That's it. It's all hearsay at that point, right? She can definitely say, "You know what? You didn't say anything. You were too high. You didn't realize you left the door open." Whatever, but
and then we cut to Wayne at the bar because the bartender, I guess, called the police because of M getting jumped. So Wayne shows up at the bar and now he's having a drink and he's talking to the bartender and he's like, everything going on with the town, I don't know how to handle all this. It's just too much. And she says, go out there and do what you think is right. And he calls the governor. He gets on the phone. He's like, "Hey, governor, like, I know you." So apparently the governor owes him something, a favor.
Owes him a favor. But then again, hey, you're drinking on the job. It's like you show up to a bar. I'm sure there's plenty of officers that get called to bars all the time for some kind of disturbance, and they don't just sit at the bar and pop down.
Forget why they went to the bar.
It's like, hey, everything done. All right, let me get a shot of Jack on the house. One for the road.
One for the
road. Come on now. But whatever. It's a small town. So, and I guess that was a bartender that did nothing. So she should have brought that up. It's like, yeah, I saw your daughter taking a pounding. I mean, it's.
But on the phone, he's like, "Things have taken a turn out here. You always told me you owed me one." So, and then
that cuts. It's done. There goes that. And then we get back to the apartment with the roommate, and Dana is drilling her. She was like, "Hey, look at the pills, and you've been giving her pills." No, I didn't. I gave her some weed and maybe some other stuff. I don't know. I didn't give her.
She goes, all I do is pot and maybe like Molly, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of stuff, but I didn't give her that,
She goes, we were going to help her get a quick fix. Emphasis on we.
Yeah. She says we, and that's what we're waiting for, to see if something else would come up, but it doesn't. Not till at least the end, when she starts bringing things up.
She's like, "I knew M was a reviver. I already knew."
Yeah, well, because she said it. She said, "I heard everything. I know." And she was like, "Oh, well, who gave her the drugs?" Is Dana. "Who gave her the drugs? Who's doing all this stuff?" It's like, and she's like, "Wait a minute."
She goes, "You're asking the wrong questions."
Yeah, asking the wrong questions. And then here we go. She says it. "I know who killed M." Dun dun dun.
And the episode ends.
Roll credits here.
Oh man.
That's a good one. Yeah, that was a good one. That's a good one right there. So that tells us we are going to encounter another character. And I think this character could be who Matthew in the comments was referring to. I'm just saying. I'm just thinking it could be a big name, because it sounds like this person is going to be the main villain. All right.
Hopefully.
I don't know, because the question, again, the overarching question is revival, right? How did they all come back? Who triggered them to come back? What triggered them to come back? We don't know. So that's one of them. But as you see, there's a bunch of mysteries going on at the same time. We got Arlene, right? Going rampant, crazy, biting horses and then pulling teeth out and getting nuts.
Well, if we look back at what Blaine said, the gates of hell are open. I don't know if it has something to do with the occult or something like
Well,
that.
that's what I'm saying. He's got his own stuff. But yeah, we need to see more with that. We have to see if he has a following. If
There's
that is,
something. I mean, obviously, like one, like we could break it down. It's something supernatural.
yeah. But I don't think he is the drug dealer.
Yeah.
I don't think he's connected in any way to the roommate. I think there's a
No.
new
Yeah,
character.
no. I don't. I don't
Okay,
think it has
okay.
anything to do with that. No, that's its own thing. That's the noir aspect of this thing. But I think
Yeah.
the supernatural aspect of what's happening in this town. Yeah, if we want to talk about M and that whole thing, that's a whole other sub thing. Because this show is brilliant because it could realistically focus on so many aspects of the unalived, the revived people and them coming back and what they have to deal with. Like the comic, right? The comic focused on each issue, focused on each person that revived. But yeah, I don't know. There's a couple of theories, and hopefully, maybe the person that we see is someone that we've recognized before or someone new.
Yeah, and then a lot of other people will recognize, hopefully. But this was overall, this was a good episode. A lot happened in this, and this is always my complaint for every show. I hate fluff. I don't like shows that just have a lot of fluff and filler. And thankfully, there was none. If you think of all the moments in this episode, just close your eyes and just think about all the scenes. They all fit for the narrative to continue on, the story to progress, either the main story of what's bringing back the revivals with Ibra and Candy trying to figure out what's going on with Arlene's body, to what's going on with M. We get the backstory with the mom and the car accident and all that
it's
stuff.
Good pacing.
Yeah,
it's good
pacing.
and the questions are answered.
Questions.
Well,
to a point, it's all going in the right direction. It's not like it's drifting and they're just doing some side BS stuff.
It'll keep you, entertained. I think once this show hits the right audience, I think this.
Because
I've already told people about this show, like described a little bit of it, and they're like, "Oh man, and that sounds interesting. Like that sounds different," and it is different. It is different. So
this is, I feel it's going to be one of those, like it's a word of mouth type of thing. It's like people are going to be talking about it, and maybe and I mean, I have cable. A lot of people have cable still, and you have the SYFY, and there's other ways to watch the SYFY channel, but majority of people are just hooked on certain streaming platforms, and that's what they use. And with Peacock being one of them, and since this show is going to debut on Peacock, I'm curious to see the numbers, and hopefully I'll reach out to the rep I have over at NBC. I want to find out if they'll probably send out a presser just to see the numbers, not just on SYFY, but also on Peacock engagement and stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, to see if there's a big difference in that, and if there will be a jump, and also on how they advertise it. Because I don't know. I don't see a lot of advertising for this show. I was hyped on it once I heard about it, only because I knew about the comics. And then I said, "Oh, this is all connected. All right, this should be good." But it's one of those things where you don't really know until it's out. But I feel that this is one of those shows that can stand on its own merit.
Yeah.
You don't need to read the comics, people. Don't think that, oh, do I have to read the comics? No, you don't. You can just dive in and respect it for what the story is telling you.
Yeah, once it reaches the right audience, I think this will.
Go
strong.
Yeah,
I can see appearances at Comic-Con with the actors and stuff. I could see all that happening for this kind of show.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good.
Definitely, I could see it all as well. All right, people. So there you go. There was our coverage for Revival Season 1, Episode 2, Keeping Up Appearances. We'll be back for Episode 3 next week. And again, if you like our coverage, or if you still like this show, please give us a like, a subscribe, and that's it. And we'll just keep going from here. And then just comment, just chime in. What are your theories? What do you think's happening? Is it going to deviate from how things turned out in the comic? I think it will. I think most times the show tries not to deviate too far off, because the source material is there for you, and it was strong material. That's why it lasted so long. You don't want to really break it, but you do want to spice things up. So I wouldn't be
keep
surprised
that audience engaged. Yeah,
exactly, because you still want to give, and we're seeing this even with Murderbot. I have tons of people. We have a vibrant community in the comments of people that read the books and read the books, and they're always chiming in. It was like, all right, they changed this up, but this is for the better. Or why did they remove this character? Or they made a relationship that didn't exist in the comic, in the books, but there's a relationship here. Why is that? Well, there must be a reason. They're building up to something else. They're changing things. They're spicing things up.
It's good.
which is good. That's what I'm saying. We want that. We don't want a word for word because then it's no fun, right? You don't want that. But anyway, thanks again, everybody, and we'll be back next week. All right. See you later, people. Peace.